Hi, drivers. Wayne here with more trucking news. Trucking is an industry where entering the business requires little more than a commercial driver's license, or CDL, and a truck. This somewhat low barrier, compared to others anyway, allows an easier entry for some to make it an attractive career choice for many workers seeking financial stability, or the opportunity to start their own businesses. However, the industry's ease of access also contributes to extreme boom and bust cycles, leading to instability for both drivers and trucking companies. The COVID-19 pandemic introduced unique challenges to the trucking sector, exacerbating existing issues while creating new ones. Lockdowns, supply chain disruptions, and economic volatility affected the flow of goods, making it difficult for trucking companies to operate efficiently. A significant number of truck driving schools shut down, some permanently, creating a shortage of new drivers entering the workforce, or that's what they've been telling us for the last 20 years. Additionally, the supply of new trucks dwindled due to factory shutdowns and part shortages, complicating fleet replacements. One of the most persistent challenges in the trucking industry is the high turnover rate. According to many reports, many truck drivers constantly seek better wages, leading them to change jobs frequently, sometimes multiple times within a single year. When a lot of drivers just move to be treated better and more like a human, this instability makes it difficult for companies to maintain a consistent workforce. But much of this is the fault of the trucking industry itself, due to the way drivers are treated. The job of a truck driver is not easy. Some of us stay out for months at a time, then when we request home time, we get sent the opposite direction. It demands long hours on the road, extended periods away from home, and a lifestyle that can be physically and mentally taxing. The isolation of being on the road for days, weeks, or even months at a time takes a toll on personal relationships, making it challenging for drivers to maintain a work-life balance, if any. Sleep deprivation and inconsistent schedules add to the exhaustion. Moreover, truck drivers face significant health risks, including obesity, diabetes, and heart disease, due to a sedentary lifestyle and limited access to nutritious food options on the road. The trucking industry is highly competitive, with thousands of companies vying for contracts and workers. This fragmentation makes it difficult for companies to consolidate operations and create a stable environment for their drivers. Unlike the shipping industry, where the top 10 carriers control 85% of capacity, the top 10 trucking companies in the U.S. only account for about 12% of the total trucking capacity. The largest asset-based trucking company in the United States, Knight-Swift, generated approximately $4.7 billion in revenue in 2020, while the total trucking industry is valued at around $800 billion. The disparity between large companies and the thousands of smaller trucking businesses illustrates the industry's fragmentation. The trucking industry is particularly vulnerable to fluctuations in supply and demand. In times of high demand, companies expand their fleets and increase wages to attract more drivers, or so they tell us. However, because there are so many independent operators and small companies, capacity often expands too rapidly, leading to oversupply and falling freight rates. For example, in the 5 years leading up to 2021, the trucking industry experienced at least 5 freight boom and bust cycles. The year 2018 saw record profits, while 2019 was one of the worst years for trucking companies since the Great Recession. That year, 1,100 trucking companies went bankrupt, more than 3 times the number that closed in 2018. The COVID-19 pandemic further intensified these cycles, causing demand to surge, crash, and surge again within a short period. With frequent economic swings, truck drivers face inconsistent earnings, or if you're an owner-operator, maybe none at all. While some years offer lucrative opportunities, downturns can lead to layoffs and financial hardship. Many independent owner-operators, who make up a large portion of the industry, struggle to keep up with rising fuel costs, maintenance expenses, and fluctuations in freight rates, and always increasing insurance rates. During the pandemic, many truck drivers found themselves without work as shippers, and warehouses temporarily shut down. At the same time, the demand for essential goods, such as medical supplies and groceries, surged. This imbalance placed additional pressure on truckers to keep supply chains moving despite challenges like limited access to rest stops, restricted dining options, and extended wait times at delivery locations. A significant issue truck drivers face is the severe shortage of parking spaces. The United States has an estimated shortfall of about 600,000 truck parking spaces nationwide. Due to this shortage, drivers often resort to parking overnight in empty retail lots or alongside highways, creating unsafe and uncomfortable rest conditions. Unlike traditional workers who have a designated workspace, truck drivers often lack access to basic amenities such as restrooms, showers, and secure places to sleep. Additionally, truckers frequently experience very long delays at loading docks, waiting 6 to 10 hours for goods to be loaded or unloaded. And most of these companies won't allow drivers to access a restroom. And then the trucking company expects the driver to start driving after being up all day waiting on the shipper or receiver. Since regulations restrict the number of hours a driver can drive per day, these delays cut into their available driving time, reducing their earnings potential. Despite being an essential part of the supply chain, drivers often have little control over their schedules and are at the mercy of warehouse logistics who set the appointments, but rarely ever get loaded or unloaded on time. I have literally sat at a dock for just over 24 hours and have waited 2 or 3 days for a meat or produce load and all that without pay, and unable to leave the location. To retain drivers, some of the largest trucking companies have increased wages and safety bonuses. But they will find a way to get it back by making these bonuses and policies in a manner they know can't be reached. For instance, Knight Swift raised pay to 50 cents per mile for experienced drivers, which still isn't much for all the liability that we take on, and being away from home as long as we are. While this increase allows a driver covering 100,000 miles per year to earn around $50,000 annually, it is still a demanding job that requires extensive time on the road. Okay, drivers, I have to jump in here. If $50,000 is all you're worth to leave your family and friends and maybe get in an accident that is not your fault, but you will get blamed and could possibly go to jail, it's just not worth it to me. Your dispatcher is making that much or more and goes home every night. Many truck drivers jump from one company to another for even minor pay increases, sometimes as little as a few cents per mile. Some move just to be treated better by another company. This was the case for me anyway. This constant movement creates instability in the workforce, making it difficult for trucking companies to plan long-term operations and ensure they have enough drivers to meet demand. One potential solution to the trucking industry's challenges is automation. Autonomous or semi-autonomous trucks could remove the need for human drivers, eliminating labor shortages and stabilizing the industry. Personally, I don't see this happening for some time, at least until they can prove that nobody can hack the system and control the truck, and nothing is hack-proof. A driverless truck could operate 24/7 without the constraints of human fatigue, potentially reducing costs and improving efficiency. However, automation in trucking comes with significant regulatory and economic hurdles. While ride-sharing companies have successfully used automation to scale operations, trucking will require substantial investments in technology, infrastructure, and regulatory approvals. Additionally, approximately 3.5 million truck drivers in the U.S. rely on their jobs for income. A rapid transition to autonomous vehicles could have profound social and economic consequences, potentially displacing many workers. Industry experts predict that by 2030, we may start seeing more point-to-point autonomous freight operations. However, the transition is expected to be gradual, with autonomous trucks initially supplementing rather than replacing human drivers. Despite its many challenges, trucking remains an appealing career for those who value independence and adventure. At least, that was the way it was when I started. Many drivers enjoy the opportunity to travel across the country, experiencing different landscapes and regions firsthand. But don't expect to have the time to stop and actually see anything. Your schedule is always tight in most cases. The sense of freedom that comes with life on the road is a major draw for many, despite the hardships. For now, the trucking industry continues to rely on dedicated drivers who work tirelessly to keep goods moving across America. So the next time you see a driver, say, "Thank you for what you do." As technology evolves, the industry will likely undergo significant changes, but truckers will remain a vital part of the economy for years to come. Please like and subscribe and keep it between the lines. Be safe, drivers.